All right. Welcome back to my world here on the internet. I'm your host, Moses Beauchamp Jr., along with my co-host, Miss Brenda. And this is part two, episode number 2 of Seeking Dulce. We're trying to unravel this whole mystery of this beautiful little lost angel from Bridgeton, New Jersey. This little podcast is a true crime podcast that we intend to delve deep into the mystery of the disappearance of little Dulce Maria Alavez, the little girl who went missing, just poof, vanished, gone from Bridgeton City Park in Bridgeton, New Jersey, back in September of 2019. Again, I'm your host, Moises Beauchamp Jr., alongside with my co-host, Miss Brenda. Miss Brenda is going to take it away.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brenda. And right now we are having our second episode titled The Search Begins. You might want to put down your volume a little bit in your room, because I can hear myself from over here. And then right alongside with me, I also have Anna. Anna, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
And can someone please let me know if we are echoing? All right, so last week we had a great first episode in the podcast that is the crime podcast that's called Seeking Dulce. And thanks to Moses, he always comes up with these brilliant ideas where he's trying to break down from the very beginning and what we know, what the community knows, and then when the community doesn't know. The first one was the Vanishing Act. Like I said, this one is The Search Begins. Now, right now, we're going to be detailing the early search efforts in Bridgeton City Park. This is like from the time after that she called 911, because last week's episode, we stopped at the 911 call. So
I was just reading it.
Okay.
Make sure they know that we're on TikTok too.
Yes. So we're also on YouTube, which is the Moises Beauchamp on YouTube, if you want to link in there. And then, no, I'm on YouTube. I'm not on my Facebook.
Okay.
I'm just on YouTube, and then you're on yours over there. All right. So my group is Justice for Dulce Maria Alavez. And then you also have another group that is called Finding Dulce Maria Alavez.
Right.
So you could join us in either groups when you want to update on anything that's going on with her case. And anything like that, you can also join us in our groups. So, Anna, tell us, when the 911 call was placed, what did they do when the officer arrived there? How did they deal with the park? Like, what did they do in the park?
So what they did was they closed it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people have an issue with that because they didn't. They a little bit. That's exactly right.
A little bit.
That's all that they closed. It was just a little bit. It was still open to to the whole public.
Yeah, there was still kids playing on the park in the playground.
Right. And then when you see things on TV and you're looking and you're like, okay, so a crime happened there, right? So what do they do on TV? They lock it down. They don't let nobody coming in because it's real important to secure the area, correct?
Yes.
So that is going to taint whatever type of evidence is in the park.
Right.
So now, one, if they bring in search dogs later on, which we're going to be talking about that,
right,
how it can deter to grasp Dulce's smell,
right,
and anything else while you have other people still in the park.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So when they brought in, when the officer arrived there, then some more officers arrived there. They did close down certain areas of the park, but they did not close down the whole park to the community. Like they didn't close every exit. And how many entrances and exits are in that park? There's a lot.
Well, if you're counting the high school, so you have West Avenue.
That's
so
one.
There's two there. So
and then Scholastic Drive.
Scholastic Drive.
Burt, Scholastic, right? And that's coming off of West Avenue, right?
Right.
And then what about behind?
So behind you have this,
The zoo?
zoo, so you can go left or right, and you're going into the Bridgeton.
Which that has two exits,
That's
which is
two
the
exits.
little bridge, and then
It goes,
what's
actually
that?
three.
Yeah, three.
You go to Commerce Street, and then you go
Commerce
out to
Street.
77, and then you can go left, and you're going right to West Park Drive.
Right. So once that officer came there, and he was once them arriving there anyway, they already knew that they was getting to the park because there was a missing 5-year-old child, right?
Yes.
The mother had already stated in a 911 call that witnesses had stated that she was possibly taken
Right.
in a vehicle,
Right.
correct? So why not lock down the whole park?
Right.
Why not let nobody else come in?
Right.
That park got flooded really fast with a
Yes.
lot of people, with
A
a
lot
lot
of
of the
people.
community people. But I do believe that that is good that a lot of community came forward to
Yes.
because they was wanting to know about the missing child. But then again, that did a lot of damage
Mm-hmm.
into probably processing whatever was left.
Right.
Cigarette butts. He could have thrown drink. He could have 90. No, I would say about 70% of the people smoke cigarettes.
Right.
What are the odds that he was smoking a cigarette while he was waiting there?
He was probably smoking a cigarette.
Or drinking a beer.
Exactly.
Right? Because it's not that we're saying it, but that park is known to go have fun. There's drinking.
Yeah.
You know, they drink beer. They have gatherings there.
Yes.
And
basketball games.
And it was National Mexican Independence Day.
Yes.
And they do a lot of drinking that day.
Yes.
Right? So, okay, so when a cop comes in, none of the exits are really closed off.
Right.
So who did they call in to help them analyze the search in the Bridgeton City Park?
So they called in Cumberland County Police, which is Vineland, Millville, Bridgeton.
Mm-hmm.
And then they called in
the state police, downtown ship, water rescue, right? Water rescue.
And then they did let me see. Oh, Sheriff's Department. They had drones, they had dogs, they have the CIO unit.
Which that's something we want to investigate because
we're not sure what CIO is.
What that means.
Yeah, we never heard of that.
But that was for the state. So like what are they linked to that we just didn't grasp it onto just a little bit ago?
And then they brought in urban search and rescue. And I would think that they brought in the K9 unit, the police K9 unit.
Right. But I don't know.
He didn't say that.
He didn't say that on his thing.
Right, but I would assume that they did. Because they had the bloodhound.
But I'm not sure if I recall that Noima stated. I'm not sure. So this is just me recalling. This is not her official words.
Mm-hmm.
Me recalling. Did she say that the search dogs were brought in that same day, or was it afterwards?
It was the next day.
It was the next day?
It was the next day.
Okay. So oh yeah. And there was a lot going on.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so the first day really wasn't as huge.
Right.
They stood in the park because that's when they thought, oh, she probably got entangled in some brushes.
Yeah.
Or she drowned, right? Or she wandered off.
Right.
So they were like thinking it's a big park or whatnot. Okay. So the very next day, that's when it really happened. That was September 17th.
Yeah.
That's when it really happened. That's when everybody joined them. I mean, the FBI joined them.
The FBI
right? And then the rapid response team, the child rapid,
and then the CART team.
The CART team.
They said it was the state. They called in the state troopers and they brought in the CART team because that's why the prosecutor got involved. Then they brought in the FBI and they brought in that what was the other one that you said?
I forgot.
Oh, I forgot too.
But so honestly, when they brought him in the next day, they brought in the downtown ship. What is that one? All right, so when
downtown ship of search and rescue. Downtown ship water rescue.
Water rescue, because they was trying to drain out the raceway because they thought she was in the raceway.
Right.
Okay, and this was like what they thought from September 16th.
Right.
She was in the water.
Right.
So what they did on September 17th, some of it, 50% of it, had to think of what they did because of what they thought happened on September 16th.
Right.
But at the same time, they were opening up a criminal thing against Noema, right?
Yes.
But it didn't make any sense because in the 911 call, there was people stating that she was taken in a red van it was taken by a Hispanic man with 2 kids.
Right.
There was no known vehicle just yet.
No.
It was just a bolo.
Right.
Be on the lookout for a 5-year-old.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So then the next day when they came, they had everybody there.
Everybody there.
That includes the smell dogs.
Right.
Right? The search and
they weren't search and rescue dogs.
Right.
They were live tracking dogs.
Live tracking dogs. Which they have their own indicators and letting law enforcement know, or the person that's handling them, that they found something or they lost something.
Right.
Which would either be scent, like either the scent is closer, they're like they will show signs that they're close to what they're looking for, right?
Yes.
And then when they find what they're looking for,
real quick.
they either say,
Sorry to interrupt you real quick, but I just got a quick question. I got to put it out there before I forget. Do you think that law enforcement wasted time focusing on Noema rather than? Okay.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
This is what we was just about to get into in the next few minutes, because we said that we believe that they wasted manpower for nothing.
For nothing. Because they just wanted to concentrate on Noema.
What y'all think about that question that I just asked?
What was that again?
The chat. Let's get their opinion on that.
Yeah. Do they think that? Do you think that law enforcement wasted their time?
Yeah.
Following Noema?
Do you guys?
The 911 call said it very clear.
Exactly.
I mean, she didn't know what happened. She obviously said it, and then she said, "I don't know," like in a desperation of. She sounded like a child herself.
Right.
To a mom herself.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. She knew she was going to get in trouble. 1 from law enforcement, 2 from her mother.
Right.
And 1, she's scared of her mother.
Right.
So
yes,
she knew she was going to disappoint her mom.
Yes.
In that. So on September 17th, they wanted to do this huge search.
Right.
So half of their search is being conducted because of what they saw from September 16th.
Right.
Because although the 911 call said she was put in a vehicle,
right?
Somebody thought she was entangled in some brushes, or she was in the water. Well, that's one thing that I can't like process. You have a 911 call from her telling you what the witnesses said, right? Bam. But why are we looking in the water?
Right.
Why are we looking in the woods? Right?
I wonder if we could play that 911 call.
I'm not sure if you can play that 911 call.
I can. I have my tablet.
Yeah,
you can play them.
We could.
You want us to play it, or you play it?
I mean, it doesn't matter. It'll probably sound better if I play it because
go ahead.
Okay.
In the system.
Go ahead.
We're going to play the 911 call for Dulce Maria Alavez.
If you got the link,
carefully, guys.
If you got the link to it, you can send it to me, and that'll make it a lot easier.
And it's on my Facebook. I mean, my TikTok too.
Let me. If I disconnect, I'm gonna have to connect back in because I'm doing it on my phone.
I'll look for it.
Okay. Well, while you're looking for it, I'm gonna continue speaking. Just let me know when you pull it up.
Yeah.
All right. So, bam, they're checking the waterways. They're checking the woods. At the same time, they brought the scent dogs. Right.
The scent dogs. Yeah.
What did the scent dogs tell them?
So the scent dogs followed her scent from
to behind the building,
behind the buildings to middle of Birch Street, and sat down
and look and faced towards
West Avenue.
So, what is that telling law enforcement? That she was taken.
She was taken
in the freaking vehicle.
Exactly.
Just like Summer Wells.
Yes.
Just like Summer Wells.
Exactly.
When they brought in the search dogs, they had no vehicle.
No vehicle.
They had no person of interest.
Yep.
They just knew she was there, or they'd known she wasn't there. But what did the dog tell them? The dog told them, sat on the driveway and pointed towards the outway.
Yep.
Because obviously it was losing scent. That means that it was caught in the air, like, like.
I still don't understand how they can do that.
Right.
24 hours after, or not even, maybe 10 hours or 12 hours. But I know dogs are very smart, and it depends on what dogs they have.
And how many days did they waste at the park? Even though, that's the whole thing. Even though
It was like
the dog is the primary person to the case, unless they didn't trust that dog of not doing his job.
Then why would you have a
was it a drug dog then? Because you know what I mean?
Well,
Like
yeah,
was it
trained
one of those?
differently? Like there's drug dogs, there are live tracking dogs, there's
Right.
search and rescue dogs.
Right.
You know?
And the dog, one of the dogs you'll see that jumps in the water.
Right.
That confused me because
and that wasn't a shepherd.
No.
That wasn't a shepherd.
The news was making it seem that the scent was lost in the water, but the whole freaking time, no, it wasn't. No. The scent was lost behind the building.
Yeah.
So see how the community was confused for like what, the first
several days.
Yeah.
Yeah, several days.
And it still wasn't even clear until later on. But okay, you have it?
Yeah, is up and ready. Let me know whenever you're ready for it.
All right, we're ready.
We're going to play the 911 call, guys.
Where's your emergency?
I can't find my daughter.
Okay, when was the last?
We were there at the park, and people said that somebody took her.
Okay. How old is she?
She's 5 years old.
Okay, and what park are you at?
Here in Bridgeton Park.
Let me see some ones in the chat room if y'all can hear that good.
The one with the basketball court where high school is.
Okay, so you're at the basketball courts behind the high school?
Yes.
Okay. And what was she seeing last wearing?
She was wearing, give me a second. I don't remember what clothes she was wearing, but she was wearing, I just remember her pants. She was wearing like a flowery pants and some heels, some white heels.
Okay, and your name?
I think they stopped the name.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened to the sound. Hold on.
Okay. All right, ma'am, stay in the line. I'm going to transfer you over to the police, okay? You said she was 5, correct?
Yes.
All right. Someone with a transfer. That's going to be at the behind the high school by the basketball courts. I have.
Oh, they took her name out of it.
She lost her child. She's a 5-year-old.
Yeah, that's
female,
what it is. They redacted it on this
wearing
copy.
Flowery pants and white heels. She's on the line.
Okay. Hello, ma'am. Hello. Hi. Did you see which direction your child went? No, we were in the car. She came down with my son. They were running to the park, and then me and my sister, we came down. But when we got here at the park, she wasn't there. They said that my son was just crying with his ice cream because somebody threw his ice cream on the floor, and my daughter just ran away.
Okay, hold on.
So
That one might have been a cut version.
Yeah, I rushed it. I didn't.
That's
So you want to hear the whole whole?
No, it's fine. Well, you guys can go on YouTube and you guys can finish listening to the 911 call. It's important that you kind of like listen to the rest of it so you can listen to the miscommunication that
your point to the call was to make that how childish Naoma sounded, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Not childish, but how kid-like she sounded.
yeah.
Like if she reverted back to her childhood, kind of like
Yeah.
she was a child herself at that moment.
Yes.
a scared child. There you go. That's what my whole point was. She sounded like a scared child. So, and then you also would hear he was taken, but the 911 dispatcher kept saying 2 black guys, and there was just a whole bunch of miscommunication. And that's another key point also into why I believe that they wasted manhunt.
Yes.
Because as you're telling them 2 black guys,
Right.
and you're dispatching that, how many of your officers that are coming into the park are looking for 2 black guys with a little Hispanic girl?
Right.
When she didn't say 2 black guys.
No.
She was clear about herself when she said that they told her a black male and a Hispanic guy with 2 kids. So why are you repeating the 2 black guys, distracting those who are looking for the missing girl?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. So I believe that that's where the confusion came in, and I genuinely believe that they thought maybe Noema did switch the story because they never really held accountability for that lady messing up.
Right.
Because we brought that out last year, and still last year they didn't want to talk about it. They don't want to assume responsibility that dispatcher messed up big time.
Right. And they don't want to talk about how abductions is not a nice word.
Yeah, she don't like to use the word abduction. She was maybe an alien abduction is proper for her, but not in the greater city of Bridgeton.
Oh no,
absolutely not.
No.
Okay, so so that search from the 17th continued on all the way on to what, like past the 20th? Because on the 20th they came back to the park again. And then that's when they had more manpower to do what? To research the park again.
Right, because that weekend, that Saturday, they held a visual. And then weekend after, they searched throughout the week, and then the weekend after is when the family did a 2-day search. One on Saturday, one on Sunday, which I never went to, but I went to the one after that one.
And it's typical, right, that they wanted to search there again. I just think that they wasted valuable time at the park. Once that dog that is trained to do its job tells you something, because they indicate stuff to you, right? So they're the ones that tell you, that this is what's going on. Anyway, then that's when they had interviews with family. They interviewed Noema and was asking her, how is Dulce? Would she go with strangers? That's when she did her first.
We have to watch how we say. We can't say certain words on.
Okay, we just got to figure out which word it was.
It was, one I just said.
MIS?
No, the AD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, aliens took her.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next day they had
that because they're saying
they had interviews with Noema, and she was at the park. And then that's when she was caught eating a pizza.
Oh yes.
And then everybody made this big old stench about her eating a pizza. Oh, if it was me, I wouldn't be eating. But guess what? What about if she had so much stress, she could have lost the baby she was pregnant with? Right. I mean, let's not think about I bet you it was really hard for her to think, should I be doing this or should I be doing this?
Right.
Because she probably didn't know what to do.
Yes.
People act like you're known to do, you're supposed to know what to do anyway. So then that's when they had the interview with Noema's mom. And they interviewed her about, and obviously she was speaking out to the person and telling them, bring them back if you find her, leave her at the store or at the church or something like that. And then they had an interview with Noema's sister. And she was at the park and she was also saying the same thing. Then they interviewed her brother. And then 2 of Dulce's aunts, they also interviewed that day. And then Dulce's grandfather, I don't know why his interview was retracted, but he spoke for a couple seconds and then his interview was actually taken off. I don't know where his interview went. I can't even find it anymore, but I do know that I do remember listening to his interview. And that's the one that they twisted up and said that she went into the woods with Dulce and Manny and then came back out without Dulce. When that's not even what he said.
No.
That was the news people translated that in English.
Right.
But that's not what he said.
No.
I think that's why I remember now. I think that's why they retracted
Yeah, because of
that
that.
interview off the
I
net.
remember seeing that because
Right.
it was all confusing.
Then,
That's why you don't see it no more because it's misinformation. So they had to scrub it from the internet.
Right.
yeah. Remember when Norma stated that she used to bring the dog to the park,
Yeah.
but she stopped bringing it because people were complaining
Mhm.
because she didn't bring them on the leash. So that day she kind of didn't bring the dog.
Right.
So that's those are the cats. So in that case, if the person was out there a couple times and
Mhm.
noticed that Norma and Dulce was out there and used to bring the dog, and then that day he didn't see the dog,
Right.
and he was like, "Ooh, this is my perfect opportunity." Because when you go to the park, you don't pay attention to who's in the park. It's a park.
Right.
It's a park, and she was there the day before too at the zoo.
Yep.
So she was there the day before at the zoo in the morning
And-
because they had a lot of stuff going on. Because
Right.
it was what was it again? It was
And I do
National
have a picture
Mexican.
of that, but I don't know how to bring it up.
It was National Mexican. And matter of fact, that picture that you have up right now, that picture was the picture that she took on Sunday, the day before Dulce disappeared.
Right, and the other one was with the elephant. She was on with the elephant.
Yeah, that's the elephant.
Yeah.
It's just we cropped the elephant out.
Okay.
I cropped the elephant out, but that's
I gotta
what she
figure
said.
out how I could put that on here so they can see. They can look at her picture.
Yeah. So then Noema, after the cops started arriving, she called her mother because her phone was about to die. And called her mother, her brother, and her dad.
Yeah.
To see, to tell them what happened.
Yep.
And all this other good stuff.
Yes.
So anyway, so then now they're
Listen, real quick. Well, okay, it was some kind of Mexican holiday, right?
National
Wasn't
Mexican Independence Day.
Wasn't it also some kind of like crazy holiday like El Dia de los Muertos or something like that?
No,
No, that's in October.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
month afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was tripping.
No, but yeah, that's another major holiday in Bridgeton. See,
Yes.
even though it's Halloween, right? But
Yeah.
to them, they celebrate Dia de los Muertos anyway.
Mhm.
But that's another major holiday, just as much as September 16th. Every year on September 16th is not only just Dulce's disappearance anniversary,
Right.
it's also one that they carry from Mexico. It's
Right.
National Mexican Independence Day.
Yes.
And every year in Bridgeton, they celebrate it all the way until the day.
Yep.
So that year, it ended up being following on a Monday. So
Right.
they partied Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Right.
And Monday, the city was off.
Right.
Remember, the workers were off.
Yeah, workers.
School was a half a day. I
Yeah.
mean, was that regular that they used to practice that?
I think they had there was a protest with the teachers. That's
And
why.
and then they did also on that day. That's when they what is that? They even had a brand new school program as well.
Mhm.
Like they wiped out the old school program that they had. They reinstalled a whole brand new school
Yeah.
program.
Yes.
That voids out old employees.
Right.
I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
And they still like, did they even look into kids? Actually, did they go to the schools because it was reported that there was 2 kids there
Right.
with the Mexican guy that they're still looking for?
Right.
That's what they're using in the sketch. That
Yeah.
guy was with those 2 kids.
Mhm.
So till this day, did they even go back to schools and see whose child didn't appear in school?
Right.
Whose child up and moved to another school? Like, things like that. Like,
Mhm.
did they follow through with that? Because
Right.
kids to be very quiet and hold a big secret like that is kind of like disturbing.
Yeah.
So the tips that came in, right?
Mhm.
The only tip, well, the 17th, that's when they produced, because after the interviews, right?
Mhm.
After they re-interviewed the witnesses, right? That's
Yes.
when the witness came out and said that she was taken in a red van with a sliding door.
Yep.
Right? So that was one huge tip, because on the day of the photo, which was September 16th, they already gave out a description of a van. They just never said the vehicle.
Right.
The vehicle came out matching the same man, but the next day.
Yes.
Now, why did someone withhold information like that? I think that the people in the basketball courts, one of them maybe was having animosity with her. They went to school together.
Right.
You think that they wanted to like purposely hold it because you didn't like each other? Or I think that sometimes if you're having issues with somebody, we always got to remember there's a kid in question. Let's remember that we're adults at the end of the day, and there's a child that's missing. And I think that the people who had already said enough on the 16th, if they knew about that card, it should have been spoken on the 16th.
Right. And then that would have brought everything out.
Absolutely.
The brother and everything.
Right. Because guess what? Because the next day, on the 17th, the dog told them it was taken in a vehicle.
Right.
So I'm wondering, did they take that information back to them people?
Right.
And it was like, yeah, there was a red van. I think that those people probably need to be questioned just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because they sound a little bit like they need to be questioned just a little bit more. Then that's when the red SUV picture came. That's when the school, what was that, West Avenue School?
Elementary school.
Right?
Yeah.
That was when they released the only red vehicle that was caught on camera.
Yep.
The only red vehicle that was caught on camera. They released it, and it was it was entered in the park at 4:20, and it was seen leaving the park like at 4:24 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was. So that was, everyone was like, wow, that's it, because in the back of that vehicle, it looks a little bit questionable. It does look like there is something that's sitting back there.
Yep.
And unfortunately,
you can't find it.
they took the video and they made people retract the video. Why? That was the only red vehicle
Right.
that was seen exiting the park. And on top of that, they didn't show the vehicle going in. They showed the vehicle leaving, but they did state at what time the vehicle went through.
Right.
So they said 4:20, the vehicle was seen coming through. Then they said at 4:24, they seen the vehicle was leaving. Okay, so at that time, but when it was seen leaving, guess what? That car was going at high speed.
Yeah.
You can clearly see it on the video that it was going at the speed that it was probably past the speed limit, because I don't remember how much the speed limit is there, but I know it's not as fast as that car was going when it was
like
leaving. And that, I thought that was one of the best leads and tips, because when that was shown and they showed the SUV coming out of two places, remember, they showed the SUV coming out from in front of the school.
Right.
Then they released the other video from the house that caught it.
Yep.
On what street is that? West Avenue, right?
Yes.
On the West Avenue street. Now,
for the picture.
if there was a kid, if one of the kids was the one that stated that, they wouldn't know what kind of vehicle is what kind of vehicle. Like, they wouldn't know if it's a van from an SUV.
Yeah.
But they did state a red van with a sliding door, which I don't get it. You're telling me that you didn't see a red van with a sliding door, and none of the videos that they produced throughout the area, they didn't find one.
Right.
All the ones that just came out was the one of the red SUV, which was I'm trying to find, but I have no idea where it's at because I don't see it. But anyway, it's probably upstairs in my room. So the red SUV came out. Oh, there goes the red. Let me hold on. Keep it right there. I don't know if you can see it.
But didn't they change the whole vehicle color and
and then
model and all that good stuff?
Yeah, sometime after that, they were saying that it was like they were looking for even a white truck,
SUV.
right?
Yeah.
That they were looking for a white truck. I don't know where it's at. Anyway, yeah, I don't know where it's at. It might be upstairs in my room. Seems like I was probably looking through it. So they were asking about a white truck or some type of white vehicle. Anyway, so, but the question is, why did the news station release this red SUV? Right? Because the one that he has posted up right now, that's the one that was caught from the house. Right? And I think we found the angle of the house where the house was at, because that's when we went out there and we were counting power cords and looking at the sidewalk, because it had to have came out somewhere around there in the park, right?
Yes.
So they went to Broad Street Liquors to see if they caught the van because there's an interview with the guy saying, oh yeah, they came here asking for footage to see if they seen the van.
Right.
The same van that was taken off of the Amber Alert now.
Right.
But you went over there to go see if you can see the van.
Right.
See, that none of that stuff makes sense.
No. And they went to 7-Eleven.
And they went to C-Mart supermarket to get their video.
It's called C-Town.
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 C-Town. So
Supermarket.
C-Town supermarket. They went to C-Town supermarket to retrieve video of their back parking lot to see if they seen anything. Why the back?
Right. Because they probably
To see if you can see a red van.
thought that the red van or whatever car had
I left through there.
that they used went down 49, which is going
Which that's what we're thinking,
Right.
because that's what kind of where you could see
right.
if you look at the spot. You can, the parking lot is big, so you can kind of see like 49 and then
Right.
what is that the other liquor store that's there too?
Yeah.
Family Dollar, KFC. But I mean, I don't think that they can reach, the cameras can
No.
reach all that up that way.
Mm-mm.
But anyway, the thing is that they went fishing for, I can't find that picture, so I can show it to them.
Google Maps.
But anyway, so yeah, so they did do a lot of things. The thing is that they did that too late
Right.
because they focused on the park. They went throughout the whole park when there was already main indicators
Mm-hmm.
that she was taken in a vehicle. Why are we still searching this park?
Right.
Like, why are we still searching a whole week and some change later to 2 weeks later for something that's not even at the park? But I mean, I understand that sometimes when you go through it the first time, you miss things, right? But I would think it would just been the initial area right there, like the
Right.
swings where she was at.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, even while they were doing the searches, people were canoeing. Remember the huge search on the 17th?
Oh yeah.
And the 20th? People were canoeing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fires that happened in the park. Remember the fire that happened in
Oh,
the
yeah.
park while the chopper was up there? That's why they cut the chopper off. And then sooner than a few hours later, the grandmom's factory catches on fire.
Yep.
The F&S produce.
Mm-hmm.
Like, something doesn't seem right. Yeah, look, that's the picture right there. That's the picture of them with the park with the duck with the caution tape.
Right.
And you can see children and parents still playing. That's the thing. That's what bothers me the most about people is the disrespect that they held. They are the ones that ruined this whole case.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was never Noema. It was
No.
how they acted
Mm-hmm.
during the whole transition of looking. That's the fire right there. That's related.
Mm-hmm.
The fire. That's when they should have took initiative to actually go out into the streets.
Right.
But they only obtained 500 warrants. And they publicly stated that.
Yeah.
So those 50 warrants. I'm sorry, not 500. I'm lying. I gave them an extra 0.
Mm-hmm.
50 warrants. It was 50 warrants that was executed. And then they searched abandoned buildings, a mile
Yeah,
and a
because
half.
the next week they had a big sign
Mhm.
at I think it was Amber Alert, and they had
Yeah.
her name and everything, and they were searching neighborhoods.
Well, you know what also bothers me is that they said missing child
Mm-hmm.
on those little flashy thingies, but they never said an actual name.
Right.
Like, who are these people looking for?
Right.
What missing child?
Right.
Oh, there's a missing child. Let me go grab my phone. Anyway, none of that was going to bring leads like that red SUV that
Mhm.
was seen leaving the park.
Yeah.
I still have issues with that red SUV because every time I look at it, my stomach hurts because literally it's the only red vehicle that was produced in a video.
Right.
I mean, because I believe if there was other vehicles that were out there that were red, they would have showed it,
Right.
not the red SUV. So Telemundo still has that video up there.
Oh yeah.
Not everybody else took the video down. Telemundo has not taken down that video yet. It's still on Telemundo's website. But that was that. I'm still with the red SUV.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then how did they examine all that? Like, I don't think they knew what they was doing.
No, because it never happened in Bridgeton before.
No, but it kind of
I
almost
would
did.
think that they
It
would
kind
be
of almost
trained.
did. Because remember Nakia Griner back in
Yeah.
February of
Mhm.
2019?
Yep.
The lady that killed her baby?
Yep.
Where she said that the child was taken from her in the alleyway in Bridgeton, but in reality, she was the one that did
the murder.
did the thing to the baby.
Yeah.
And try to put him in the oven and all that, put him in a duffel bag. And then you know what? That's another thing with them. I don't know if they know what's right from wrong.
Right.
Because they went to her house, that lady's house, right? They smelled something weird and burning, but they never thought it was burning flesh. Like, you would know. If you've been in this field for so long, you should know smells. Like, you should be keen to what you smell, what you see. But like, were they dumb? Like, were they not, like, were they amateurs? It sounds like these were, what were these? The
I wonder if they were like
in the
brand
same-
new detectives and brand new police
Yeah,
officers.
like what, all the old heads were what? Sitting in the office waiting for report?
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Because I still don't get it. It still goes from the mistakes from the 911 call to you getting there, executing a search, right?
Right.
It comes back blank to you, but why are you still looking in there?
Right.
See, that's the thing. Why are you still looking in? Okay, it's cool to look in the park. You use all your manpower to look in the park, but at the same time, did you separate your men as soon as you went into the park, did you separate your men and say, some of y'all go over there and pull videos from there. Somebody go to Bridgeton High School and pull videos from over there. Somebody see if I can locate video from the zoo, because let me tell you something. That zoo's got to have cameras. There's no way you got all them darn animals in there. You got, but there's a Carol Baskin, what's to happen?
Facing into the zoo. They're not facing out.
But even out, because what if somebody
want like cameras? They just had them, and they're just like, they weren't even hooked up at that time.
But what if one of those tigers escaped from the zoo? Or what if somebody let those animals out free from the zoo? How would they know?
Well, if they have cameras inside the zoo, they would know.
And what vehicle would they know that they left in?
Because they probably have parking lot cameras.
Right.
But nothing facing the road.
Either way.
Well, the animals are chipped. They got chips, so they'll be able to track the animals. As far as cameras, they say that there wasn't at that time any cameras. My question is, what do you think about the cameras that they so-called put up there now?
I don't agree with them. Well, first of all, you still don't even have clear shot of a park where the little girl went missing.
Exactly. But
first
they say they're high definition in the sky.
They're so high there in the sky. I always say that.
Yeah.
But that's what bothers me the most, is because I feel like that place already had cameras, which would have been the Bridgeton, what is that called? Memorabilia place? What is it called?
Bridgeton
Museum,
something,
right?
Bridgeton Sports Museum, I think it is.
Right, where there's tons of stuff in there that is of value. You're gonna tell me that them people never had camera? You're gonna tell me that them people's never had camera?
They probably have cameras.
You're gonna tell me that those 3 things in the back, those A, B, and C sheds that belong to you with equipment that costs the city money, ain't got no damn cameras?
Apparently they didn't.
Because if the vehicle was behind the shed, like they said,
they would have caught that vehicle, but they didn't have no cameras.
That's what they said.
Yeah, they didn't have no cameras.
Well, anybody can go there and steal stuff and nobody's gonna know.
At that time, yeah.
But what they did was, when Noema wanted cameras at the park where Dulce went missing, not the park as in a whole, see, because it's considered, the whole park is considered Bridgeton City Park, right? She went missing in a little mini park from that park, right? That's what people need to understand. There's a lot of little mini things that you can do in there, right? Okay, so it's 1,100 acres worth of freaking fun. Or
well, there's like, the zoo, and then you have
Splash Pad
and
the basketball course, the new one
had there at that time. Yes. But Sunset Lake and Splash Pad and the zoo, that's all they have. Everything else
is a city park with several different playgrounds.
It is not eligible for.
Mm-hmm. So when that, like, I feel as though as they did with those cameras now, first of all, they're not showing enough of you yet. But they did use the funds to get for Dulce's cameras, right? To have them installed where inside the actual little mini park where she went missing. That's where Noema wanted it at, right there, right? So they can have clear view of the park, but they didn't. They funded the Bridgeton memorabilia place with it, so now they have it. And still on top of that, If you look at the documentary, you'll see how they're pointing. You still can't see nothing. But the second part where they put the cameras at is at the splash pad, which I find that a little bit disturbing. They put it in the splash pad. I don't know why. And these people have access to those cameras. Like that's a little bit too much. There's a lot that's going on that I don't think people should have access to. Why was this placed there? Either way, that will be later on down the road in another whole nother episode. But the first tip was of the red van with the sliding door.
Right.
The cameras were the ones that were in question.
a lot of smoke on here.
The cameras were questionable, right?
Right.
So anyway, the only thing that ever came out was the red van, the red SUV, period. The only thing that came out, and it came out flying out of there at 4:24.
Right.
All right. So you know how fast that was? What? That's 3 minutes. That's all it takes is a minute.
Right.
You know how long a minute is? A minute, you could take a kid. You could do a lot of things in a minute. I could do a lot of things in a minute. A minute takes forever. And she was still sitting in the car. But anyway, it's all of these tips were coming in. Some of them were invalid. Some of them they were searching because they were saying that Noema was the one that was held, that she was accountable for her daughter's disappearance.
Right.
But that's where I'm not understanding, because all she did was sit in the car.
Right.
So, like, if they think that all of this was pre-planned from before, right, they would have already found traces on her phone, her laptop, this and that, and
right.
All of that stuff. None of that stuff. They've made her look guilty because they messed up on everything. Right. And I believe that that's why they allowed the community to make her look guilty. And still to this day, they continue to allow the community to make her. So it's like just guilty. It's not that they saying that she's guilty because they don't have anything on her.
Right.
But the only way that they can still keep up with whatever shenanigans is going on is that they allow the public to keep bashing her and making her seem like she's guilty. But in reality, there's nothing that points in that direction that she was at fault for her daughter's disappearance. So that's another tip that they wasted a massive, massive manpower on.
Yes.
Okay. Looking to her when they gave the opportunity to this person to be many, many, many miles away or had already disposed of her somewhere. Because till this day, they still don't know nothing. And I believe it's how they handle her work.
I gotta play devil's advocate though, because in my opinion, I think that Noema has fought to a certain extent. Let me explain. Because she should have been there at arm's length of her 5-year-old child.
True.
Well, she was young at the time too.
Which, you know what? I want to say that too, but then I remember when I keep saying it when I was in Roanoke, Virginia, some of them parks out there, you can't smoke a freaking cigarette in there. So you had to like literally be on the parking lot. I left my kids and watched them from a little hill while they played. And I had one that was well under Manny's age.
Right.
So I left them there with them playing, and me and my brothers up there in the parking lot smoking a cigarette.
Right.
And it's not that we believe in the orange juice thing. That's true. We do believe, but if she was comfortable already with that area and visited that area for a long time since she was little, you become comfortable in that area. So you would think that everybody that comes there, they're already associated. They know that's your kid. I'm just saying that this is how I would think myself. These are my words. This is not what she said. But yeah, so she was at fault, but I think she had already did her parenting classes for that. I think she had already completed what she had to complete.
The thing of it is that it's normal. I see it all the time. I go to the grocery stores and I see parents, mom and dads, and have their children and not paying no mind to them. Today I was at the car wash and the little girl, it like about 3 times a car almost hit the little girl. And, the parents, it's just Kids are fast. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? They're fast, and
Or-
we be caught up in our own little world at times too. So you know what I mean? It could have happened to anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you know that's my thoughts on that.
No, and it could have, and it could see there was all, and it could have like we don't wake up every day and expecting that somebody is looking at our kids playing at a park or
Right.
something like that. So that day was kind of like a normal day for her.
Mhm.
But then that's what people also got to realize. That person didn't just come there 3 minutes and say, hey, I'm going to go take this person. No, they
Right.
probably had to canvass the area, see how easy it was to take a child from in there. Because, like, I mean, who wakes up early in the morning and says, hey, I'm going to go down to this park right here and I'm
Mhm.
going to go take a kid? First of all, no rookie went into that park to take no child. You literally have to know that park because you can take one turn and you're right back inside the park again.
Right.
So you knew how to get out. You knew how to not go out through where the courthouse was either.
Right.
Because you had the courthouse, you got the jail, you got all these things that are surrounding. Then you got 2 schools with cameras. Like you knew what you was getting into, but you also knew how you was
I'm
gonna
turn
get out
this
of it
off
as
and
well.
then I'm gonna turn this off and then turn it back on.
We're almost done.
I know.
So with that said, with that red SUV, that's why I believe that the red SUV was one of the biggest leads that they ever had, one of the
Right.
biggest tips that they ever had, because it showed the same time frame that they stated that she was taken from the park, 4:24, because who gave them that timestamp,
Right.
right, of 4:24 p.m.? Who gave it to them?
Right.
So then that's when Telemundo went and they did their little job, and the video was leaked out of a red SUV leaving the park at 4:24 at some high speed. Like, who was driving that vehicle? But then it was told that that red SUV, that the person had to be there at that time.
Right.
So that person didn't see nobody taking Dulce either. So the black man that was seen behind the buildings didn't see
Mhm.
Dulce being taken either.
Yep.
The person that was leaving in the red SUV at the same time Dulce was leaving, they was being taken. They didn't see anything either. I mean, like, so who the hell saw anything?
Right.
So that's why I'm starting to think that maybe a UFO did come down
Yeah.
and take her, and
Yep.
Noema just didn't realize
Yep.
that there was a spaceship above the thingies.
Yeah.
And the other clue, the other tip was when Manny told them that there was a man signaling Dulce over.
Right. He didn't say it. He just signaled. He just.
Yeah, but
He
I
probably
mean,
drew it or something.
yeah, of course, because he was nonverbal.
Yeah.
But either way, he stated to them that there was a man that was signaling Dulce, waving, using the hand motion
Yep.
for Dulce to come over, right?
Yep.
But why? Like, why would they have thought that she was still at the park?
Right.
That's what I still don't get it.
At that
I don't
time,
believe
at that time, little Manny, he he really wasn't speaking like talking about. My question is now, 5 years later, or what is it, 6 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Are there
Or
are they working with this little boy to get information from him? And in closing,
Okay. So that's where we're gonna leave it at. At that time, he was nonverbal. I don't know how they assisted in getting information
Yeah.
from him, but I do know that not too long ago, Norma did state that they don't question him. Like the last time that they questioned him was what, a year or two ago or something
Yeah.
like that. He's the person that you need to speak to
right.
before he forgets. He
Right.
was 3.
Yeah.
So that's what I say. Like, what are they doing? They're not doing anything because they're not even
Nada.
working with him
Right.
still and keeping the little bit that he does remember. He does remember because he still says the same thing. Like, we be asking him, he still says the same thing. The same thing about the man telling her to come over.
Right.
And he's real specific about it. And he did state that he couldn't see too much of the man because he had a baseball cap on.
Right.
So he couldn't tell if the man had glasses. And it's not he's telling us. It's not like he's talking to us. It's like we're asking him questions and he's just nodding to us yes or no.
Right.
And then, because obviously he can hear.
Right.
So, with that said, I still believe that they wasted all this manpower in an area where the manpower should not have even been, the manpower should have been spread out throughout Bridgeton, not just in the park.
Mhm.
That literally let this person go scot-free with no sight of wherever the heck it went because they were chasing the park.
Right.
And
That's all the search groups always searched the park.
the park.
They
That's
didn't
it.
go outside.
That's why they said they cleared the park, that they don't feel like going back. But you know what? What about now if they place something out there?
Right.
Because he was canvassing the park for like forever.
Yeah.
They wasted all that time in the park, precious time because time is of the essence. And that's how we're gonna close it. That's what he said. Time is of the essence, but we're gonna waste all this essence in the park after the dog told us she left in a vehicle.
Right.
After the witnesses canted that she was taken in a red van with a sliding door.
Yes.
After Manny showed them that she was being lured over there by a man making hand signals. After the witnesses stated that someone knocked Manny's ice cream down on the ground and then she proceeded to run to the back.
Right.
All that, but she still sat in the park searching through it for 2 weeks.
Right. It was 2 weeks. And then after that, I think it was after Will, I think his name was Will, came in. He did that one big search, and then after that, people started searching outside the park.
Yep. So with that said, join us next week.
Next week.
In episode 3, which is the investigation. And here we're going to explore the police investigation some more.
Right.
And talk about the do's and the don'ts and the strategies that we are just speaking about today.
Right.
And then we're also going to discuss the potential suspects and persons of interest, which is the sketch, the guy, Noema, and all this good stuff. And then we're going to discuss the challenges that they faced, because they did face a lot of challenges, but I think that 30% of the challenges that they faced is because it was their own error.
Right.
Not because Noema didn't provide them with enough information.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they make it seem. Not that Noema did not provide them with enough information. I believe that everyone that was set in that park, they were the ones that didn't provide enough information.
Yes.
And why didn't they provide enough information to help law enforcement? Why?
Yep. Why?
With that said, thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, my group is called Justice for Dulce Maria Alavez, and Anna's is Finding
Dulce Maria Alavez.
Yes.
You can find us on Facebook,
TikTok, and then you can also join us on
but the group
YouTube.
isn't on TikTok, but you can always watch some of my videos that I have on Dulce.
And you can always join us on YouTube at Moises Beauchamp. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. So next week's podcast, you don't miss out, and you don't even have to hear the repeat. You can actually join in the conversation and tell us what you think, because next week is going to get a little bit spicy, and this is where we're going to dig into Bridgeton's, you know what?
Yes. All right. Good night, guys. Bye.
All right. So with that said, my good peoples, we'll catch y'all next week, 7 p.m. next Friday, where we'll continue discussing this case. We'll talk about the investigation and so on and so forth. Let's keep this little missing angel in our prayers. Little Dulce Maria Alavez, gone poof. Disappeared from the city park out in Bridgeton, New Jersey. The FBI say that this is a crime of opportunity. What y'all think? Let's talk about it down below in the comment section. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch y'all next week.